We're in the pantry, the makeshift pantry. This is our formal dining room that we converted because we just didn't need a formal dining room in our life. Welcome to the Happy Homestead. I'm Amanda, and I am in the midst of trying to organize the chaos, and it feels like chaos. I have been working on this for about 3 weeks so far. I've only had little pockets of time, and I'm battling a cold, by the way, so bear with me as my voice is certainly not the same as normal. But I've been trying to do what I can with little pockets of time I've had to try to organize everything. So in this corner, we actually had a really pretty terrarium that I had purchased many years ago at the Biltmore Estate in one of their kind of conservatory shops. And it had a fake orchid in it, and it was just beautiful. And it was always right here in this corner when we had our dining room set. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, well, this corner can be utilized so much better. So I took out the terrarium and I put it in our living room where it can actually be displayed and beautiful. And then I got another one of these kind of metal shelves that you put together. And so I assembled that a couple of weeks ago and finished putting that together just yesterday. And I've got already some things on it. I'll show you that process of basically what I did. But I still have so much more work to do. So my goal today is to finish organizing the big wire shelf, get everything off of the floor, and really have a free floor. I want to have all of the empty jars organized, and so far I've been putting all of the empty jars in that brand new kind of corner rack. That's where I feel they're gonna probably be housed right now, and then the full jars on the big shelving system. I'm gonna put all of my 5-gallon buckets kind of under the window. We have a front window right here this way, and I'm gonna line them up, I think, under the window and just figure out what I can do. So I've got some work cut out ahead of me. I will tell you, the kitchen is fully done. So this is all part of the great big purge, is what I'm calling it. It's probably going to take me close to a year to get through every corner and crack and crevice of my house. But the kitchen is done. I finally got all of the other section where under the window and the shoes and everything done. I washed all the walls, all the doorknobs, the doors, the windows, the light switches, backsplashes, counters, cabinets, inside and out, baseboard, the quarter round around the baseboards, all of the floors, all of the appliances. Everything has been cleaned, organized, and purged with what we don't need. And so now we're in here. And I'm really looking forward to getting this done, because while I walk in here and see all of the abundance, and it's a really good feeling, it's still a little heart palpitating just to have so much stuff kind of not in any particular order. One of the things I did yesterday was I took 2 plastic bins that we had upstairs in our children's playroom. They were empty, they were just sitting on the floor, and I have put all of my freeze-dried items in those bins, and I basically kind of lowered the top shelf of that shelving system. I felt like it was always a little too high. There was always just too much space between the 2 top shelves. So I lowered that and was able to put the bins on top, and it just makes it easier to grab things. I know where all the freeze-dried items are, and so far I'm really happy with how that is going to work out, and the rest of it will all be the canned goods. The other thing I kind of did yesterday was I took a bungee cord, and I had one bungee cord here. I think this is a 36-inch. And I stretched it across so that I have some sort of barrier from jars just falling. Now, could they fall if they wanted to? Yes, it's not perfect. But it's just enough to give me some peace of mind right now. I'm also gonna put some on the sides to make sure that nothing is falling off of the sides. I only had this one, so I had to go order some more, and I ordered black. So eventually these will all be covered with black bungee cords, and hopefully they'll, you know, keep anything from just falling off. The other thing that I have are these kind of like plastic shelving liners that go on these wire shelves. So I purchased this shelving unit probably about 2 years ago now from Lowe's, and then I had the option to get these plastic liners, and so I got those. Now, for the last 2 years, they've been just kind of sitting over there in the corner behind our freezer because I already had my jars on the shelving unit, and so I just didn't take everything off. So this was the perfect opportunity to actually get these liners on. And what I'm really hopeful and seeing, so like the progress so far, is before I had everything in boxes like this, right? To try to help keep everything contained, keep it safe, somewhat keep it organized. But by having the boxes here, I'm not utilizing the amount of space as efficiently as I could. So by putting these plastic shelving, or liner on the shelf rather, I'm hoping to actually get more jars per shelf rather than keeping them in the box. I think it's going to work out that way. I've also been very aware of the weight limits. This is something that people probably don't talk too much about when they're going through their pantries and they have all of these jars stacked like this. Each shelf is rated to hold 350 pounds. And I took kind of like a heavier jar and weighed it in the kitchen scale, and it was just under 3 pounds. So I'm estimating an average of 3 pounds per jar. And right now I can go, I think it was 13 across and 4 deep. And so I think that came to 52. So then 52 times 3, estimating 156-ish pounds per shelf. So I wanted to make sure that I am not going over any type of weight limit with my shelves, and I recommend you do the same, whether your shelves are store-bought like mine or they're home built. You just want to make sure that they are, especially if they're home built, reinforced, strong enough, and that you're not overloading your shelves. So I am trying to be very aware of that also. Here comes Marley. He's also like, what is going on in here with all of this mess? All right, so enough talking. I think I've caught you up on, what I have done so far. So right now, I'm working on the shelf below this one that I've kind of already done. I'm not going to go through really like what each shelf is and how I'm organizing too much, because I am going to do a pantry tour of everything we have and how we're storing it, and kind of get into more of that in a separate video. I really just want to get everything off the floor today in some sort of organization and in a lot more efficient way. So on this shelf, now that I'm working on it, I have to clear everything off. I'm going to take everything off this shelf and then get the plastic liner on. Easier said than done. This is also a good opportunity for me as I'm placing everything back on the shelf. I'm checking seals. I think it might have been last week I was reaching for a turkey stock and the lid was not quite sealed. It really just came off. Thankfully, it didn't create a mess and I was able to catch it. But this is another good reason that, you don't store the rings on your jars, because if the ring is on, you don't necessarily know that you have what's called a false seal. So it's really important to store all your jars with the rings off so that you can easily identify when you have a jar with a loose seal you want to dump it when that happens. All right, I think I'm gonna put tomato products up here. So for here, I've got a jar of marinara that I did this year, this August, as part of the Every Bit Counts challenge. And this is just to make plain tomato sauce. You can actually see the difference in the consistency probably. This is from August of 22. So I'm actually gonna put this in the front. I always try to do the first in, first out mentality and method in my pantry, and make sure I use this one first. Even though it's not quite the same, it is the only, as far as I can see, unless I see otherwise, quart of kind of loosey-goosey sauce, and so I want that one out first. I'm doing my rows 4 quarts deep. It very well may end up being 5 pints when I get to the pints, but I am sticking with 4 quarts deep. I'm sitting here contemplating, do I want to put my canned tomato items from Azure Standard? I've got these big 28-ounce crushed tomatoes. I've got a couple of cans of pizza sauce. I've got some cans of tomato sauce, plain tomato sauce, as well as, I think, diced tomatoes. I've got space here where I could put them with my tomato products. I went and weighed this on the scale because, again, I'm just super aware of the weights. This is just a little over 2 pounds, so the calculations would still work out perfectly fine. But I still have a lot of canned items left, and I only have 2 more shelves down here. And so I'm just kind of thinking, do I want to waste the shelf space for these items or no? I think I'm going to hold off on making that decision and go to this next shelf and start doing the other items, and then I can decide what goes in this empty spot. I'm realizing as I'm organizing the pickles, who eats this many pickles? Inevitably, when you get into canning, I'm sure you can relate if you can. You just get so excited, right? Or if you're growing your things in your own garden, you just get so excited to preserve it in various ways. And for me, it was pickles for the longest time. And I'm like, I don't know that we eat this many pickles. But I'm trying to organize these between like sweet heat or pickled hot peppers versus dill slices and dill spears. Then there's some with green beans and pickles and cucumbers. I think the best method here is, again, just first in, first out. Along with pickles, do you know what we don't need? Jam. Okay, I have gotten almost every jar on the shelving system. I've got all kind of jams, jellies, some preserves, a couple of canned fruit items on the last shelf. So I still have this open space right here. And so what is left are those as your standard tomato products, as well as 34 quarts of homegrown green beans. So I'm deciding, I'm thinking I'm going to try to get my tomato products up here. And I may be putting my green beans on one of those shelves, which means I'll have to move some of those empty jars. Now I still have space like on the floor down here. And originally I was going to put like my All-American pressure canner, my cheese pot, some things down there. And I do actually have some more empty jars. And I've got these massive boxes of lids. I bought this, by the way. I bought one regular mouth, one wide mouth. I forget how many. Oh, 36 packs. This is the standard mouth, 36 of them. I bought this back in 2020, like in the height of the pandemic when lids were so hard to find. I got them at Goods, I think. It was like goods.com or Goods Online or Goods Store. They were so affordable, and I can't even believe I got them because they sold out so fast. And I still have so many, so I'm set with lids, which I'm so excited about. But that's on the bottom here. I've got an electric water bath canner down here. So I'm trying to keep some of the like the pots and the appliances maybe on the floor underneath the shelf. But let's go ahead and get the tomato products up here and see if that works. While I know I've made progress, it still feels like a mess down here. It just still feels like there's boxes and stuff everywhere, but one thing at a time. Maybe. It just feels so heavy with these 28-ounce cans. It's actually like scaring me a bit, even though I know the weight requirement is okay because I did weigh I weighed even these, like I mentioned, so I know everything's okay. But yeah, it does scare me a little bit. What's so great about doing this is for someone like me, number one, it's just kind of therapeutic to have everything organized, to know what I have. But I would say the other part of that is like knowing what you have and then knowing what to make, right? Like being able to come in here and say, what do I have? And then working to figure out meals with what you have, rather than thinking, what do I want to make and what do I need to go buy? I actually think that's a pretty big mentality shift that everybody's capable of. But for the longest time, I think, gosh, what do I want to make for dinner? What do I want to eat? Okay, well, I want to eat this, so I need to go buy XYZ. Rather now, I think, what do we have? What can I make from it? You know, every week when I'm doing my meal planning, I'll go on my phone where I have my inventory of everything here in the pantry and everything in our freezers, and kind of think about what do I want to put together? What can I put together without having to go to the store? I think it's a mind shift that everyone is capable of, and I actually think it's so beneficial for our wallets, for our health, and just for our overall stress levels and mindset, right? Not having to go run that errand, not having to go to the store and get one or two things, making do with what you have, I think could benefit everybody. All of the jars are there, all the tomato products, really happy about that. So now I just need to get the green beans on that shelf behind me, and then a handful of things to kind of move around. And this room will be so much better. Now, because I don't have those plastic liners for this small shelving unit, I'm going to keep any food on the shelf in these boxes just to help keep them safe. I'm gonna stop for here today, but we've got this entire unit done. I've got the floor somewhat organized. I vacuumed, I wet mopped it. So I can at least say this section of the pantry is done. I still have more to do, especially with my 5-gallon buckets. Clean out a lot of these boxes and decide what I want to do with them, if I want to save any or not, as well as some empty jars and the 40 pounds of onions from my last Azure order. I still got like 30 or 25 pounds of apples over here on the ground, so still lots to do, but I'm really happy with the progress made thus far. The next video I do here in the pantry will be a full tour once this is done. I'm hoping that's within the next couple of weeks, and we'll kind of go through everything here, what I have, maybe we'll stop canning and preserving going forward, and what we need more of. So thank you for joining me. I'm going through this great purge because, well, we need to, and I'm sharing and documenting it because I feel like it is so therapeutic, and I'm hoping that you will do the same in your home, no matter what you have or don't have, no matter how big or small your dwelling is. Everyone can benefit from some purging. So thank you for joining me today as we organized part of the pantry. Stay healthy, stay well. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.